In Peru, study shows that most of the population rejects Dina Boluarte's government and considers that the Congress led a coup d'etat against Pedro Castillo. In Turkey, authorities registered a 5.6 magnitude earthquake in Malatya, resulting in at least one death and dozens of injuries. And in Nigeria, vote counting continues after Saturday's general elections. The main opposition parties rejected the first preliminary results issued by the Independent National Electoral Commission. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news, and we're going to do so in Peru. A poll shows that the majority of the population rejects Dina Boluarte's government, believing that Congress gave Pedro Castillo a coup d'etat amid police repression that left more than 60 dead. The results of a poll published on Sunday by the Peruvian Studies Institute show that rejection of the president has risen to 77%, and 73% think Boluarte should resign. Similarly, another study shows that 51% of the Peruvians think Congress gave Pedro Castillo a coup d'etat. The study also shows that the rejection of Congress has reached 90%. At the same time, 69% of Peruvians are of the opinion that it would be appropriate to hold general elections this year. The Bolivian government has reached a temporary agreement with the Peruvian authorities and citizens who are maintaining the road blockade on their common border. The agreement allows vehicles to enter Bolivian territory without paying fines or tolls. Bolivia's Vice Minister of Foreign Trade, Benjamin Blanco, said that the temporary passage began on Saturday with pedestrians and light vehicles entering Bolivia and was extended to heavy trucks on Sunday. According to the official, at least 300 lorries have been stuck in Peru for more than 50 days. For this reason, they are making the necessary efforts to enter the national territory. The Vice Minister expressed his gratitude for the work of the Bolivian consuls in Lima. In a resolution issued by the Peruvian government, the Bolivian transporters are exempted from fines for not having left the Peruvian territory within the time limit stipulated in their transit visa. On Sunday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Colombia announced it will reopen 4 consulates in Venezuela in the next 4 months. According to a statement from the ministry, the consulates will be reopened in Caracas, Maracaibo, Táchira, and San Cristobal. In 2019, after former Colombian President Iván Duque recognized opposition lawmaker Juan Guaidó as interim president of Venezuela, Bolivarian President Nicolás Maduro broke diplomatic relations with Colombia, a situation that affected 4 million Colombians living in Venezuela who were forced to travel to Colombia each time they needed to carry out any procedure. In August 2022, a few weeks after Gustavo Petro's electoral victory, both countries normalized their relations. The Venezuelan people commemorated 34 years of the Popular Rebellion on February 27th, known as Caracazo and National Human Rights Day. On Monday, thousands of citizens remembered the events of February 27, 1989, which arose as a popular protest against corruption, the increase in the price of fuel, the increase in the price of public transportation fares, and the repression against demonstrators. Mobilizations in turn expressed the citizens' refusal to the attempted implementation of a series of economic measures known as El Paquetazo, a plan agreed upon with the International Monetary Fund which demanded large macroeconomic adjustments that suffocated the Venezuelan people. During the commemoration ceremony, Executive Vice President Delcy Rodriguez highlighted the courage of the people who stood up to neoliberalism.
There lies the rebellious and anti-imperialist spirit of February 27th, of February 4th, of November 27th, story that translates into what has been the vindication of our historical roots of our father Simón Bolívar.
Argentina's economy ministry has announced World Bank financing amounting to $450 million. According to the Latin American Treasury, this is the equivalent of 2 loans to the country in order to invest in education and sustainable urban development. The loans will be repaid to the World Bank over a period of more than 31 years. There will be a grace period of about 8 years. The Minister of Economy, Sergio Massa, said that he was pleased to have the support of the World Bank to help finance educational inclusion, launch a habitat program, and improve the living conditions of Argentinians. In the United States, another demonstration of love and solidarity for the Cuban people and against U.S. sanctions on Cuba took place on Sunday, February 26, in Miami, Florida.
Dozens of activist members of U.S. patriotic immigration organizations went to the streets of Miami to demand that Washington remove Cuba from the list of countries that sponsor terrorism. For Professor Carlos Lazo, leader of Bridges of Love, the message for President Joe Biden is clear.
Down with the blockade. Take Cuba off of the list of terrorist countries. Build bridge of love between the people of Cuba and the USA. Look at the joy here. Look at the party.
The activists recall that hundreds of terrorist acts have been committed against Cuba. As an example, they remember the events in the coastal town of Boca de Sama in the municipality of Banas in the province of Holguin, when in the early morning of October 12 of 1971, a group of terrorists who crewed two pirates' boats from Florida cruelly attacked the civilian population, leaving dead and wounded.
Here we are in the last Sunday, as in every single month of the last Sundays, with a caravan in favor of the Cuban family, in favor of the Cuban people. Down with the blockade. Let's end the sanctions that are hurting the Cuban people. President Biden, listen, it's time to end the sanctions. The Cuban people are suffering. Down with the blockade.
Every last Sunday of the month, this initiative takes place in Miami and other U.S. cities. The caravanners consider that the people of Cuba and the U.S. can have better relations in all sectors, as happened during the Obama era, where there was a better relationship between the two countries. From Havana, Cuba, Irma Shelton, teleSUR English.
Weather Channel 4 is reported that ashes from the Cotopaxi volcano reached 2.4 kilometers high. According to expert reports, the ashes moved southwest without affecting populated areas. Officials pointed out that with the recent events recorded in the last few months, the volcano is expected to remain active for several weeks. It is worth mentioning that Cotopaxi is considered the most dangerous volcano in the country due to its eruptive style of relief, the snow cover, and the number of people at risk. Let's take a short break, but first remember you can follow us on TikTok at the account of teleSUR English, in which you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and much more. All the stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. On Monday, a new 5.6 magnitude earthquake struck the province of Malatya, leaving 1 citizen dead and 69 people injured. The latest quake struck just after noon on Monday in the south of the city of Malatya, according to the United States Geological Survey. Malatya is the capital of the province of the same name, one of the 11 Turkish regions affected by the February 6 tremor. According to officials from Türkiye's emergency response agency, at least one person had been killed and 69 injured in the latest quake. The agency said that 29 buildings in Malatya had collapsed and that 5 people had been rescued from the rubble. The overall death toll has climbed steadily over the past 3 weeks, surpassing 50,000 in Syria and Turkey by Monday. On Monday, Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry paid a visit to Turkey as a show of solidarity after the devastating earthquakes that claimed tens of thousands of lives in Turkey and neighboring Syria. The Egyptian official was received at Mersin Airport by his Turkish counterpart Mevlut Cavusoglu. The Turkish Foreign Minister praised the support and solidarity that Egypt displayed immediately after the deadly earthquakes and emphasized that the two countries were opening a new chapter in relations. In this regard, Cavusoglu also referred to the fruitful meeting between Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, held in Doha, Qatar last November. On Monday, Egypt's Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry visited Syria for the first time in a decade of tense relations with the Arab country. According to a statement by the Foreign Ministry, the visit aims to show solidarity with the people of Syria after the devastating earthquake that hit the country earlier this month. Shoukry's visit is the latest example of Arab outreach to the internationally isolated Syrian government. On February 7, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi called his Syrian counterpart Bashar al-Assad in the first official exchange between the two leaders.
I had the honor this morning to meet with President Bashar al-Assad to convey to His Excellency a message from His Excellency President al-Sisi, a message of solidarity and sympathy with the Syrian people and our readiness to provide whatever support we can to confront the effects of the earthquake. The relations between the two peoples are well established and strong. We are always working on solidarity and to confront the challenges facing the Syrian people, and we look forward to Syria to overcome the consequences of this earthquake.
In a session of the Arab Inter-Parliamentary Union, Iraqi Parliament Speaker Mohammed al-Halbousi called for solidarity with Syria following a 7.8 magnitude earthquake that hit the region on February 6.
What do you see from the initial scene? Apparently, the bomb was rigged to a motorcycle and was detonated by remote control. The entire motorcycle was destroyed. Teams have arrived on the scene and collected evidence. We are trying to find out what caused it.
Azerbaijan's President Ilham Aliyev welcomed Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov for talks in Baku on Monday. It was the first high-level meeting between the two nations this year.
Regional security remains a very important topic in our relations, and not only at our bilateral level, but also at the multilateral. Many of our international colleagues, including those located far away from this region, express a lively interest to facilitate progress towards the settlement between Azerbaijan and Armenia. As President Vladimir Putin said repeatedly, we welcome many efforts that are interested in establishing the situation and creating the conditions for all the countries in the region to cooperate in the interest of their people with mutual respect and mutual benefit.
European Union energy ministers gathered in Stockholm for an informal meeting to talk about the upcoming reform of the European electricity market, energy security ahead of next winter, and the bloc's industrial competitiveness.
Are aiming to provide an as efficient presidency as possible, moving this forward swiftly, because the European Union's agenda has been very much tainted by emergency resolutions and emergency decisions. This is finally something on the table where we can sort of lift the gaze and look onto the horizon and find a more sort of long-term solutions to the energy crisis.
A European energy market reform can do a lot of good, but it can also do a lot of damage to a system which is functioning. And therefore we are saying, let's be ambitious when it comes to the no-regret measures. Let's be fast. Let's set the priorities for future investment. But on the other side, let's get the fundamentals right on the basis of a proper impact assessment so that we can ensure future investment.
On Monday, the leaders of the United Kingdom and the European Council completed the agreement on the Northern Ireland Protocol to ease trade disagreements resulting from the Brexit. The UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, signed the pact aimed at lessening the effects of breakup in 2020. The British Prime Minister highlighted the main achievements of the new instruments, such as the elimination of barriers to trade, the removal of all borders between the two sides in the Irish Sea, and the guarantee of Northern Ireland's membership with the United Kingdom. The German government has pushed back against a demand by the country's Data Protection Commissioner to take down its Facebook page over data privacy concerns. Late last week, Data Protection Commissioner Ulrich Kullberg gave the government's press office 4 weeks to shut down their Facebook page. He argued that although the operators of Facebook pages and the network's owner Meta have a joint responsibility in processing users' personal data, a deeply held concern in Germany, the German government has been unable to prove that the principles of data protection were being adhered to. The government will use these 4 weeks to examine the notice thoroughly and carefully to decide on the next steps. And teleSUR keeps connecting the global south, as now you can watch us in 3 African countries through StarSat, dial 461, and enjoy our Latin American alternative broadcasts. Stay with us. Welcome back from the south. Nigeria continues to vote. The main opposition parties today rejected the first general election results published by the Independent National Electoral Commission, which put ruling party candidate Bola Tinubu ahead in the presidential race. Tinubu received 2.8 million votes. The People's Democratic Party candidate Alhaji Atiku Abubakar received 1.6 million votes. Labour Party candidate Peter Obi was next with 1.3 million votes. Obi of 61 won 46% of the vote in Lagos, Nigeria's economic capital and the stronghold of the ruling or Progressive Congress. Candidate Bola Tinubu, according to the National Electoral Commission, by early Monday afternoon, INEC had released official results from only 10 of Nigeria's 36 states, and the final count could take longer. At the same time, Africa's most populous country, with some 220 million people, is suffering from soaring inflation, entrenched bureaucratic corruption, and high levels of poverty, despite being Africa's biggest oil producer with 2.2 million barrels a day. An Israeli attack on Palestinian communities in the occupied West Bank killed 1 person, injured at least 100, and burned several homes. The Palestinian Health Ministry confirmed the victim's name was Sameh Aktash, 37 years old, who died after being shot in the abdomen by armed settlers who attacked the village of Satara. Another Palestinian was severely injured with a fractured skull after being hit with stones during another offensive against the village of Huwara, the primary focus of the assaults. Under the complicity of the occupation forces, Israeli extremists burned and destroyed several cars, trees, and houses in the village.
Members of the Congress expressed their solidarity with the Syrian people and the creation of a delegation of the Arab Parliamentary Union to emphasize our support and stand with the Syrian people and continue to provide the necessary requirements to support our Syrian brothers after the earthquake that hit several cities and towns.
A bombing at a crowded bazaar in southwestern Pakistan killed at least 5 people and wounded 16 amid a surge in violence in the South Asian nation. Authorities stated no one immediately claimed responsibility for the attack in Barkan, about 600 kilometers northeast of Quetta, the provincial capital. According to the local police chief Sajjad Afzal, the bomb was rigged to a motorcycle and was detonated by remote control. Apart from inflicting casualties, the explosion left several shops at the market badly damaged. Meanwhile, Barkan Deputy Commissioner Abdullah Koso added rescuers took the wounded to the hospital to receive immediate medical attention.
What is happening is the burning of an entire village. This is what they do. Dozens of tents and houses are destroyed and burned. The safe houses that people are sitting in, about 400 to 500 settlers broke in with the army protecting them. They walk freely down the street. The settlers enter about 500 meters into Hawara. At the distance, they burn more than 20 establishments, including shops, houses, and trees. Even the trees were not spared. They burned everything. They burnt everything they found.
In North Korea, the 7th plenary meeting of the 8th Central Committee of the Workers, the meeting discussed and summarized the economic situation in 2022. first year of the implementation of the new area rural policy plan and the important and urgent task facing the national economy at present. The meeting was addressed by Chairman Kim Jong-un. It was attended by party members, senior officials and various ministries. The proposed agenda was also unanimously approved. Discussions began on the first item on the agenda. We have come to the end of this news briefing. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.